Hello everyone and welcome to a new tutorial. Today we will be creating the chain hook ability from Overwatch. First things first, we will set up our scene by creating a plane with a checker texture. Now for a player, we will use a sphere with a rigid body and then move the camera inside the sphere. I'm going to import a first-person character controller I created into my scene. The script will be available to download in the description down below. If you already have a controller, then just ignore this part. Alright, create an empty game object and call it hook object. Then create a sphere game object and this will act as the tip of the hook. I'm going to remove its collider and make it a little bit more tiny. Drag it into your assets folder to create a prefab, then delete it from your scene. Open up our prefab and give it a line render. This will be our chain. Import this chain texture. You can download it from the description down below. After you have imported it, enable alpha its transparency and create a new material with the albedo of our hook texture and rendering mode to fade. Now just drag it into our line renderer. Make sure we have two positions, texture mode to tile and use world space enabled. Create a new script called hook script and let's begin coding. Alright, before we set some variables, we need to use systems.link. I'll show you why in a second. For variables, we will begin with a string array called tags to check. These are the tags we will check for our trigger collision. A couple of floats, the hook speed, the return speed of our hook, the range of it, which is how far will it go before returning, and stop range, which is how close to you will it stop. For hidden variables, we will need two transforms. The person casting the hook and what we have collided with. Then we need our line renderer and a bool that will control our loops. Inside start, we only assign the line renderer variable. Under update, we will begin by checking if we have a caster, and if we do, then we set the start position of our line renderer to be the caster's position and the end of the hook. Cool. Now, if we have collided, we need to make the hook return to the caster. The way we will be doing movement for the hook is it will always be moving forward, so all we really have to do for it to return is face the caster. We need to store the distance between the caster and our hook in a temporary variable, then we do a quick check using our stop range to destroy it. Make sure the stop range is always higher than 0, otherwise the hook will never destroy itself. Now if we have not collided, I'm just going to copy this and paste it down here. Then just swap stop range for range. And create a new function called collision that takes in a transform parameter, then add it inside here with a null. We will do our movement forward now using translate multiplied by our speed variable and delta time. Let's check if we have assigned or collided with variable. This is a type of transform. If we have, then we move this transform to the position of our hook. Yes, you guessed that right. This variable is whatever we hit with our hook. Last thing we do in update is if we do not have a caster, then we just destroy our hook so that whatever we are dragging towards us stops being dragged. Before we do our collisions function, let's do on trigger enter. Here we will do a check if we have not collided and if it has one of our tags to check. By the way, the only reason we can see contains here for arrays is because we have set using systems.link up here. If the option to use contains here does not show up for you, that's because you missed that line. Inside here, we just call our collision using the collider's transform. Inside our collision function, we need to change the speed to be our return speed and set the has collided to true so that it begins returning to the caster. We do a quick check to see if we have a call variable, which is a type of transform, and if we do, then we set our hook's position to be the position of this call variable, and lastly, we assign or collided with. And that's pretty much it. Very simple and easily customizable. Inside our controller, all we have to do is check whenever we press mouse 0 or whatever key you wish, we will call a hook function, and all this function really does is create a hook object in front of the camera using the camera's rotation. But we have to do one more thing, and that is access the hook script and assign the caster variable to be this controller transform. We do this by storing our hook in a variable that we can later use to access the script and assign the caster to this transform, and voila! All done coding. Back in Unity, we will open our hook prefab and let's set up some variables in the inspector. We will check for the tag enemy here. For speed, I'll do 20 and return to 40. Range, I think 20 is fine, and lastly stop range to 2. Okay, for our script to be able to call on trigger enter, we need two things, a trigger and a rigid body. So add a rigid body with use gravity disable and a collided with its trigger enabled. I'm going to lower its radius a bit. Cool, we need something to hook though, so I will create a sphere game object and give it the enemy tag as well as a rigid body with physics enabled. Duplicate it a few times and hit play. And hook, there it goes, and it's back. Good stuff, man. Alright, let's hook these boys right here. Oh, way too far. Alright. Awesome, it's all working as intended, guys. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section down below. I will try my best to answer them. Thank you for watching and have a good one. Bye bye.